Good morning, everyone. Today's lecture that we are going to discuss is all about an anthropogenic or a man-made disaster, that is deforestation. So, in today's lecture, we will see that why deforestation is considered to be an anthropogenic or a man-made disaster. What are the factors or what are the characteristics of this particular disaster which makes it man-made or anthropogenic in nature? Now, in this lecture, we are going to cover the following objectives. First, we will see as to what you mean by deforestation. Then we will see what are the different causes of deforestation. Next, we have the effects of deforestation. And lastly, we will see that what are the different ways by which we can control this problem of deforestation. We begin with what is deforestation. So just getting my pointer. Okay, yeah. So what is deforestation if they ask you? Then basically deforestation is a very genuine problem that the environment is facing in today's time. And deforestation is causing a lot of environmental distress. That is why it is a topic which is quite relevant, and this is a topic which needs a lot of discussion as to what is deforestation, how is it harmful to the environment, what are the causes, what are the effects, and what are the ways by which we can control this disaster of deforestation. So deforestation in simpler words is nothing but cutting up of trees or clearing or the removal of a forest for plain land. Now we require a lot of plain land for a lot of purposes. Maybe with the rise in population, with the advent of industrialization, the requirement of free land has increased leaps and bounds. We need free land for building houses, we need free land for building multiplexes, we need free land for building supermarkets, so on and so forth. So the need for free land is enormous. And where are we going to get this free land from? It is but obvious that we are going to get this free land by cutting down trees and by clearing forests. So deforestation in one word is nothing but clearing of forest in order to get plain land. Now, examples of deforestation, it includes conversion of forest land to farms, ranches, or for urban use. Now, there can be for different purposes that the reason why we are cutting down forest or we are clearing forest, it can be because of farming. That is the need of the agriculture. We need free land for growing crops. Obviously, if the population is huge, then agricultural demand is also going to be large. So farmers will have to produce more crops in order to feed the increasing masses. Next, we have ranches, that is for breeding animals. And the last one is for urban use. That is basically for urbanization, for building houses, for building societies, for building malls, for building multiplexes. That is the urban use. So these are the different categories why we need free land, maybe for agricultural use, for breeding animals, and also for the urban use. And for these basic three reasons, it is very important that we cut down the trees, we clear the forest for free land. According to the United Nations conference, which was held in 1992, deforestation is defined as land degradation in semi-arid and subhumid areas resulting from various factors including climatic variation and human activities. Okay, so the deforestation is nothing but it is considered to be land degradation. It can be in a normal condition, it can be in a semi-arid region. Okay, and the factors, they include climatic variation and different types of human activities. So obviously deforestation generally does not happen because of a natural factor like maybe rainfall or lightning. It is quite rare. Okay, generally the basic reason for deforestation is different kinds of human activities. So human activities will only cause cutting down of trees. Now there can be so many different reasons as to why human beings, they want to cut down the trees. No, and human beings are of course very selfish. They are trying to cut down the trees for their own purposes, for their own benefits. So we will see that what are the causes of deforestation. So as I said that the need to cut down trees or to clear forest land can be mainly or majorly for three different reasons. The first reason is for agriculture, because free land is needed for agriculture, for growing crops, to meet the food demands of millions and trillions of people in our country. Now, secondly, it can also be for breeding animals. That is also an important requirement. And the third important thing is for urban use, that is for building houses, for building societies, or building multiplexes, so on and so forth. So, under these three broad categories, we will see that there can be further subdivision or classification as to what are the different causes of deforestation. So, as we see, the first cause of deforestation is shifting cultivation. So, this comes under the agricultural demand. So, we say that most of the clearing of the forest is done for agricultural purposes. Poor farmers, they cut down trees or burn it and start agriculture. That is known as slash and burn farming. Basically, what they do is they have been growing crops in a particular area for a particular period of time. Now, when you grow the same crop in the same land for a consistent period of time, the land loses its fertility and the productivity is also low. So maybe for 5 continuous years, a farmer has been growing wheat on a piece of land. Now, what happens is in the sixth year, he sees that the quality or the fertility of the soil and the productivity of the crop has gone down. So what he does is he cuts down or he clears that entire field, okay, by just chopping off the plants and putting them on fire. So that is known as slash and burn. So when you chop off the plants and burn them, then what happens is that the entire area is burnt off, and then they move on to a different area and they start the same farming. So that is one way, that is known as shifting cultivation. That is, they are shifting their area of farming or cultivation. They have been doing farming or cultivation in one particular area, and now after slash and burn, they have shifted the place where they want to do the cultivation. So that is primarily what is the meaning of shifting cultivation. This is done majorly for agricultural purposes, okay, by the farmers for growing crops. So poor farmers, they cut down the trees or they, chop off the plants and they set it on fire so that they can start the agriculture elsewhere. Intensive or modern agriculture destroy the forest on a large scale. Obviously, nowadays there is modern agricultural processes. Okay, so they are using machines, they're using different types of instrumentation so they can clear off the forest very fast. It is the principal cause of deforestation in some countries like America, Asia, and Africa. Now, the second cause of deforestation is commercial logging. Now, what is the meaning of commercial logging? So, commercial logging involves cutting trees for sale as timber or pulp. Now, this is a very important thing because if you imagine a forest, it is a storehouse of very, very important things. First of all, those trees, they provide you with timber, they provide you with wood. Okay, this wood, the timber, they can be of enormous commercial uses. Okay, so they have a lot of commercial uses. Forest can have magnificent amount of use. Apart from providing wood or timber or logs, what else do they provide? They provide a lot of medicines because there are many rare and extinct plant species which can act as medicinal sources. Apart from that, you can get rubber, you can get wax, you can get resin. So, in forest, apart from just these, you can get fruits, you can get vegetables. I mean, it is a storehouse of different kinds of things. And the amount of products that you can collect from a forest, if you sell them, then you can have an enormous amount of commercial success. That is why forest has a very huge commercial use. And when they say commercial logging, they're saying that they cut down the trees so that they can use that particular wood, okay, and they can go and sell it off in the market for a commercial purpose. So if you're chopping down or clearing the forest, then you are basically doing it for commercial logging. That is another cause of deforestation as to why you are cutting down the trees. So it involves the cutting the trees for the sale as timber or pulp. It employs heavy machinery to remove cut trees and build the roads. Logging roads enable people to access the interiors of the forest, which results in deforestation. In Africa, 75% of land being cleared by poor farmers is land that has been previously logged. So basically, they're saying is, they use nowadays modern machineries to cut down the trees and to build roads. Okay, And logging roads enable people to access the interiors of the forest, which results in deforestation. So that is the second reason. So first is shifting cultivation, second is commercial logging, and then you have mining and dams. Now people will require to build dams in certain places, and they will also need a free land for mining. Now if they require free land for mining, then it is but obvious that they will try to clear off whatever is above the surface. So they will chop off the trees, which will result in deforestation. So mining, industrial development, and hydroelectric power plant projects are also causes of deforestation. Dams open the previously inaccessible forest and damage the ecosystem. And in Brazil, the Grand Caraias project occupies 90,000 square kilometer. It also affects 23 tribal groups and also caused the high soil, water, and air pollution. So we saw that primarily we said that the major causes of deforestation can be for the urban use of human beings. It can be for the agricultural purposes, and it can also be for breeding of animals. And the major or very specific causes of deforestation we saw, they were either shifting cultivation, or they were commercial logging, or they were mining and building of dams. So these are some of the primary causes of deforestation. Now, next we have is the effects of deforestation. So, what are the consequences of deforestation? Now, if you cut down the trees, clear the forest, then what are the consequences of deforestation? Of course, you will have soil erosion, because the roots of the plants, of the trees, they hold the soil very tightly. However, when there are no trees or plants in that area, and there is heavy rainfall, or there is sleet or snowfall, what happens is it washes off the topsoil, and obviously the land gets eroded. Okay. Now the second is decrease in rainfall. Now obviously when there are so many trees in a forest, this the plants, they undergo transpiration, that is the loss of the water in the form of water vapors through the leaves, through their stomata. And these water vapors, they go up, they condense and bring rainfall. So in areas where there are more trees, there will obviously be more rainfall. So if we chop off the trees and we clear the forests, then what are we doing? We are decreasing the amount of rainfall in that particular area. Next is we are definitely going to have loss of fertile land. Okay, because less rainfall, if there is less rainfall, then what will happen is that the fertility of the land will go down. And we can also say that deforestation is majorly responsible for increase in the temperature of the earth, or carbon dioxide content of the earth, and it gives rise to global warming. Why? Because plants are what? They absorb the carbon dioxide for the process of photosynthesis. If there are no trees, okay, if you're cutting off forests after forests, what are you doing? We are increasing the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, because there are no trees or plants available for absorbing that carbon dioxide, right? So if there is excessive amount of carbon dioxide, then what is happening? Because of the excessive amount of carbon dioxide, temperature of the earth is going up, which is resulting in global warming. Now, apart from these basic effects, we can also say that if there are no forests, then what are we doing? We are killing, or we are destroying the biodiversity, right? Because all those animals, the rare species of plants and animals, we are destroying. Okay, there'll be less rainfall, there'll be effect on climate, there'll be increase in global warming, there will be soil erosion. Okay, so all these things, and of course there is loss in biodiversity is also an important point, that all the rare and extinct species of plants and animals which you will only find in the forest, they will also be destroyed. So the biodiversity is going to be majorly harmed by the process of deforestation. Now, next you will see that what are the ways, or what are the things we can do in order to control deforestation. So the first thing is reforestation. So reforestation is nothing but it is like afforestation, or planting of trees, in places wherever possible. So many countries in the world have started reforestation and forestry, and East Asian nations are leading in this regard. Many East Asian countries, including China, have successfully managed to reverse the process of deforestation. Obviously, nowadays loads and loads of forests are being cleared, trees are being cut, for the increasing demand of free land. But at the same time, many countries have done what is, in order to compensate for the loss of these forests, they have planted as many number of new plants. So obviously, they have reversed the process of deforestation. So reforestation or afforestation is one way by which you can control deforestation. Next we have is legislation. So by making suitable changes in the environmental laws, cutting trees in a forest will not only lead to deforestation being controlled in a major way, but its flow may also be reversed. Third, we have wildlife sanctuaries. Sanctuaries are very important not only to save wildlife but to save trees as well. So sanctuaries go a long way in protecting all wildlife. So that's what I was saying, that when we are indulging in the process of deforestation, what we are doing is we are damaging the biodiversity. All the rare species of plants and animals are being killed. So in order, if we really want to clear the forest, cut down the trees, the first step should be remove all those plants and animals, the rare species of plants and animals from the forest, and shift them to a wildlife sanctuary where all these rare and extinct species and anyways normal wildlife, they can survive peacefully. Okay, if at all we really need the land, because you cannot overlook the fact that plain land is required. Okay, if plain land is required, then what will we do is we will cut down trees. But before indulging in the process of cutting off trees, it is advisable that the plants, the rare species of plants and animals, they are removed from the forest and they're shifted to a wildlife sanctuary where they can live in peace. And next is cities. So all cities, let alone the new cities, have to be managed properly. Their expansion has to be curtailed or at least done in a systematic manner, so that there is enough green cover and new trees are planted wherever possible. So that's the solution. That's a very theoretical solution. I'm not sure how well or how practical this is, but the thing that is being discussed is, we obviously cannot control the urbanization process, but when urbanization is taking place, more and more people are moving in from villages to cities to have a more urban lifestyle, to stay in societies and so on. Obviously forests have to be cleared, more land have to be made available, but during all this time, it is a conscious decision to maintain a balance between the two. Of course, we have to build houses, we have to clear forests, but at the same time we can have certain amount of greenery. If we are devoid of green areas totally, then we are in for a disaster. So the advent of cities and the growth of cities and the spread of cities also need to be controlled at a human level, and that is our responsibility to look towards it. So in this slide, I've included a few practice questions on deforestation, like what is deforestation? What are the causes of deforestation? What are the commercial and ecological importance of forests? What are the harmful effects or consequences of deforestation? And discussing the methods of controlling deforestation. So I'm sure after going through this lecture and after practicing these questions, this entire topic of deforestation is going to be very clear, and it will make students understand as to why this is a man-made or an anthropogenic disaster and why deforestation should be stopped at the earliest. So that's it. So in a nutshell, we can say that we discussed as to what is deforestation, what are the major causes of deforestation, and then how does it affect the environment largely, and what are the different ways by which we can control the deforestation. So from looking at the causes and you know what causes deforestation, we can clearly say that we said that it is commercial logging, that is definitely a man-made activity. Then we talked about shifting cultivation, that is definitely the activities of the farmers. And then building of dams or mining, these are also activities that human beings indulge in. So it is clearly can be seen that deforestation is a man-made or it is an anthropogenic disaster. There are not many natural factors which causes cutting down or spoiling of trees. Of course, lightning and heavy rainfall can damage a few trees, but majorly, forest can be damaged only by human intervention. And that is why deforestation is rightly termed as an anthropogenic disaster. Thank you. That's all.